don't know where I stopped, but
So,
until I got to the place of accepting who I was, flaws and all, um, I wasn't going to get to the answer, to the truth of me. I wasn't going to get to the purpose of why I was created, because me hiding from me meant I was hiding from the one who created me. I was I was keeping him out as well. Um, so that why, I truly believe that question of why is so important, because it does get to the core of so much. Um, and those conversations that we have, those with whether it be husband, boyfriend, those type of relationships, or even best friends, right? To ask why, to ask questions anyway, it allows us to get to know the person even more. Um, and,
I'll say this, and this is so important because you never know who is watching.
mhm,
If you doing what God is leading you to do can touch one person, that
mhm,
person may touch millions.
mhm.
Because I remember playing a basketball tournament in Japan, and uh, we were the defending champions. Uh, I remember us losing, and I was sitting on the floor. I didn't think we played well. I didn't think I played well. I was crying. I was definitely in my feelings because I hate to lose, especially if I know that we could have done better. And a young Japanese boy walked up to me and in broken English, he was like, "You're a great player," and I was like, thanks. And he showed me the shoes that he was wearing, and he's like, "I bought these shoes because I saw you wearing them in the last tournament."
Wow.
And the irony is that the only reason I wore those shoes is because I left the shoes I wanted to play in, and these were like the ugliest shoes ever. But we won.
Wow.
We won. I was wearing those shoes, and he went out and bought those shoes because
Wow.
he thought that I was a great player. So you never know who's watching you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
never know who's watching. You never know whose life you're gonna touch. And if you go out and you try to hug 100 people and to show them the way, and you only reach one, man, that's a success. That's a win. You know what I mean? That is a win. People gonna be people, but don't
That's like the biggest hug ever.
don't let anyone steal your joy. They be like, look, like how many people did you help today? One person, you know, but they sincerely felt what
Mhm.
you were trying to extend to them.
Right.
And who knows, that one person that you touch, with your hug, because you never know what someone's going through.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
look at someone, it's like, oh, that person's fine. You really need to check on your friends. You know,
Mm.
it's a lot of times people put that mask on and they're laughing and they're joking and everything else like that. But sometimes those laughs, those
Right.
smiles are hiding
Yeah.
pain, hurt. They're tears of a clown. Everyone laughs at a clown and everything because they're sad face and this and this. It's tears of a clown. They want to make you laugh by being sad. And it's like, you just never know what someone is going through. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong. It doesn't cost you anything to reach out and say, hey, how you doing? Are you
Right.
good? And most people are always going to give you the textbook answer. Yeah, I'm all right.
Oh, I'm good. Yeah.
All right. And,
I'm good.
I live for it's like, but are you good?
Right. Right.
That means I care enough to get past the minutia
Uh-huh.
and talk to you. Are you good? Are you okay?
Right.
I mean, if you don't want to talk, I mean, that's fine. If you do want to vent, I mean, that's fine too. If you just want to vent for an hour, you know, okay, no judgment. I mean, you never know what someone is going through. And we see that every day out here now. It is a crazy world. People are doing crazy things. And some people really do need a hug. I'm just gonna throw it out there. If y'all don't want to be hugged, I'm just saying some of y'all need a hug. Some of y'all
That's what it
need
is.
a hug.
Yes.
Don't
I
take
have
the hugs down. Get your hug.
I have a t-shirt that says all the world needs is more love and the biggest hug ever. I truly believe that.
That is a very good start. I mean, because
Truly believe
sometimes I see some people like, you wasn't hugged enough when you was a kid.
it.
Oh no, it's you're missing something somewhere. Like, oh, you need
Yeah,
a hug?
yeah,
Yeah, you do.
yeah. And that part about you never know what someone is going through. And just helping that one person. It was, as I shared before, how I stopped hugging. Um, when I made the decision that I was going to do that, of course, those individuals who had everything to say about, oh my gosh, you're always hugging, blah, 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 were the same individuals that was like, oh, what's up? Something wrong? You got an issue, whatever, because you ain't hugging. Um, but I was at work one day and I'm gonna say it happened to, I was headed to the restroom, but stopped in the hallway because I don't know, it was a lady who was coming out of one of the other offices, and I didn't know who she was. It was an older lady. I don't even know why I want to say white lady, but because of the way that our society is today, I'm gonna say, um, that she was Caucasian. Oftentimes I would just leave that out because it's like, well, it doesn't matter whether, but in today's society, yes. So anyway, we happen to have a dialogue. How it started, I don't even know, but it was good. It was good talk. We just, oh my gosh, I know we sat out in the hall and talked for almost an hour.
Mhm.
And then she said, you know what, I probably better let you go, and get back to work. I just came over here, just to the library, whatever, but I'll let you get back to work. And of course, I felt the nudge to go ahead and give her a hug. And I was like, no, no, not gonna do it because I promised myself I wasn't gonna do that. And I'm like, Lord, I said I wasn't gonna do that. But he kept nudging me to do it. So I was like, okay, so if she rejects me, then I'm, why I said I'm not gonna do this anymore. So I said, well, before you leave, if you don't mind, can I give you a hug? And she was like, sure. So we both did this thing where for me, it's like, okay, I normally like go for it, right? I'm like latching on.
Roll in.
Like, oh my goodness. And but I will get from others, either the quick pat and then they push away, quickly, or the one who kind of does it kind of like the side, like, yeah, I'm not really not comfortable with this. Um, so I hugged and I was kind of like, okay, I'm waiting for her to do those things.
Mhm.
She didn't, she held on. So I the more she held on, the more I eased up, got a little comfortable in it and
Right.
just hung in there. And then I could just feel this like transferring of, oh my gosh, it was just release. It was love. It was like compassion. It was like me giving her what she needed and her doing the same for me. And we never said a word. We were just, there. And it got to the point where um, she started crying, I started crying. And again, we're not saying anything. We're just holding, one another and feeling this embrace. And finally, we were like, okay, we're good, that's good. And then we'll go back to another, little hug. Okay, one last one, that type thing. And as she was about to leave, she said, I just wanted you to know that just to say thank you. Thank you so much for hugging me. Thank you so much for asking me for a hug because I haven't had one in about 10 years since my husband passed. And this really just changed my life. It made me feel love again. And again, she and I were just both bawling. Um, and that was the change. That was when she walked away, God was like, that is why I gave you that gift, and don't you dare say you're not going to do it unless I tell you not to do it. Um, and I would just say that was the turning point for me embracing my hug, and embracing the understanding that it is a gift that God gave me. And it is to do more than just a physical embrace of another person, but to share his love with other individuals, to comfort those who are mourning, to um, just encourage another person who needs the building up. And that thing, it changed my life. She talked about it, how it helped her, but wow, it changed my life. And I am truly grateful. And as I begin to use that as my platform to like, why did you give me this? And what is it all about? The more questions I asked, the more he like revealed and made it like simple and plain. And I got to this place of big hug lady, creating a business around it. And then creating this whole platform of big hug conversations where I could have conversations with individuals about what they're doing so that in the midst of that conversation that I would be able to encourage other individuals, whether it be to inspire them to go off and do um, great things or inspire them to just start the conversation between them and God. Like, why did you create me? What is my purpose? Why am I here? Or just to encourage another person who is down, who is feeling um, the hurt or whatever issues that are going on in them or with them, but to let them know that they're not alone. And there's, someone else out there. And if they can overcome, so can.
Because no matter who they are, somebody is going through some storm that you
Right.
know nothing about.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's important for us to tell. So it goes back to that whole place of us needing to get to a place of trusting one another, right? And how do you get to a place of trust? Being vulnerable, right? Because pride will keep us quiet. Pride will say, no, I better not say that because they may this or that may happen or whatever. But
Right.
if I just begin to walk in that authenticity, the only way I can do that is to be vulnerable, right? And not be so worried about what other people think, but just use that as a way to just be me. But going back to relationships and building relationships, I'm going to have to be vulnerable in sharing my flaws.
Mm-hmm.
And then hoping that that individual, as I share my flaws, that they will do the same and not use it against me. Yeah.
Listen,
So,
that is such a feeling of betrayal,
mm,
when it happens. And that that's a feeling I wouldn't wish on anyone. And it's like you spend your life, putting up a wall. And then you meet someone, you start taking blocks down, and then something happens. You're like, see, I shouldn't have trusted. I should have kept that wall up. And then you start putting blocks back on that wall.
right.
And that's everybody wants to know your business. We're in that society where everybody wants to know your business,
Mm,
but they don't really care.
right.
And
Yeah.
that's why you get the default answer. Come on. It's like, why do you really want to know? Do you
Hmm.
really care? Are you just nosy? Do you want to know just to be in someone else's business? We care more about what Jay-Z and Beyonce and Kanye are doing than the people who live right there in our household.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Well, okay. Let me stop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it was like the perfect point, right? Okay, you said that we care more about people, care more about what's going on with Beyonce and all that and the individuals in their house. Could it be though that those conversations, it's not that I don't care, but it's hard to have a conversation with individuals who are close to you, who may know you, who may know your flaws, who may use that against you.
Mhm.
I would say, how many married couples are out there who really don't know one another, right? Because they are too afraid to share and to open up their inner, what happened to them, whether it's wanting to share a trauma or whatever. But so could it be that it's not that they care more about others, the celebrities or whatever, than they do their family members? Could it be that it's just harder to have a conversation or to open up with those who are so close,
But,
to them?
but now you're going down a path for saying Beyonce, Jay-Z, they don't know you. They don't care. You get put out
Right.
on the street, you know what I mean? Tomorrow, you go out and spend $1,000 on a ticket or buying some cologne or shoes that this artist has put out there. The people that are holding you down, the people that are there around you, that is your support base. When you hit rock bottom, and it would be great to be able to, like, when I grew up in like I said, in Norfolk, Virginia. However, I spent my summers in North Carolina, where I got a double dose of morality, you know, and respect. And you're like, well, you don't call me ma'am. I said, well, I mean, but that's how I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing is that sometimes you'll be in a situation where a complete stranger will be closer to you,
Hmm.
someone in your own family. They will do more for you than someone in your own family. And then that just opens a door to so many other conversations. Why are we at each other's throats? You know, why is the dark skinned male, against this male? Why is it that society has said that light skinned women are more beautiful than dark skinned women? It's all playing us against each other. We don't even know why we hate each other.
Hmm. Hmm.
We other races, they'll pool their money together and say, okay, we got this business, we're gonna send money back to bring someone else over. We are more concerned with personal satisfaction and gain, the immediate satisfaction of something instead of long term. We'd rather look like we've made it than to actually make it.
Mm.
And these are some of the conversations that we have to have. I mean, do what you want to do, it's your life, but I've seen people have very nice homes, and then you go inside, they have like broken, trashy furniture. But he's like, what? But I'm living, you know,
Mhm.
the on the outside. It's the cosmetics of it. You want people to think that you're doing better than you're doing. You're maxing out your credit cards. You're doing all of this, trying to portray an image. I'd rather be well off than to look well off.
Mhm.
Like, oh, well, you're driving a beat up car. Yeah, but I own that beat up car.
Right.
And that beat up car is in front of my house.
Right.
An apartment, not my mom's house, not my brother or my sister I'm staying with. That car that I own is in front of my house. And not that that has to be your goal, but my thing is I realized a couple years ago that, hey, I'm getting close to retirement and I wasn't ready. So
Mhm.
mentally, I'm like, I gotta start making moves. I gotta start taking some risk. I gotta get some investments.
Mhm.
'Cause I didn't want to be that guy. I had a lieutenant, loved this guy to death, well, to life. But he was like 70 years old, still working 40 hours a week, 80 hours a pay period. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't
Mhm.
want to be that guy. It's like I come to work if I want to, because I've prepared for this. And so it's sad. What you were saying is that we will show more love to a celebrity who doesn't even know us, could care 2 cents about us, instead of having a real conversation with someone who's supposed to be our support base. And I get it. We've got we've got some good family members, we got some bad family members, but who would know that better than you?
Right.
You know, who your bad family. You got family members that you ain't gonna let in your house by, and like, hey, I'm going to the bathroom. I'm like, I'll walk you. You already know. And if you didn't, and he's like, and cousin Ray Ray, he took. I was like, well, you know how Ray Ray is. Why? I was like,
Right. Right.
so he's like, it's your fault. You like,
You did it to yourself.
like, I did this to myself. you know, but it goes back. There used to be a time where family meant something.
Mhm.
Where family gathered and it meant something to be a family. And it's slowly and slowly dying. We look at movies, they say, well, Big Mama, Big Mama held the family together. Ironically, my mother's name was Big Mama. That was her nickname.
Okay.
And when she passed, something died. When my grandmother passed, something died. The
Mhm.
people who are holding the family together as they're transitioning out of our lives, no one is stepping into those roles to say, hey, I know we're growing further apart because it's easier to get out, but I expect everyone to come back for this holiday. Don't let,
Mhm.
don't let that holiday or that special occasion be someone's funeral. You
Yeah.
know, give the people that you say you love their flowers while they're alive to snow.
Mhm.
Don't wait for someone and then you're up there hooping and hollering and crying. Oh, I wish I had one more day. Why?
Right.
Why do you wish you had one more day? When they were here, you were so big. You more worried about Beyonce. You got to sit there and watch a whole show on Beyonce instead of like, well, my grandmom, she. I wish my grandmother was still here. I
Mhm.
wish my. I went 3 years without talking to my mother over a disagreement because I felt that she wasn't respecting me as a man. And not one day passes that I don't wish that I had one day of those 3 years back.
Wow.
Life is short. Life is so short. Don't spend your life, what you have left of it, worrying about these people who don't care about you. If you have someone in your family that you know is worthy. Now, my mother, she was very opinionated. I had to deal with her, in moderation. But I came back. That's still my mother. You see what I'm saying? That's still my mother.
Mm.
And when she's gone, they're gone. Now it's too late to spend time with them, to tell them the things that you wanted to tell them, to tell them that you love them. Tell people that you love them now. I got friends like, brother, I love you, man. And man, I ain't telling no other man I love him.
Why? Yeah.
Why can't you tell another man that you love him?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love my daughters. I love my sister. I love my uncles. I love my cousins. There's nothing wrong with me being able to express how I feel. And if someone tries to make me feel bad about being able to express that, then the problem is really with you or with them.
Right.
Because you're the one who can't express yourself. You're the one that feels like you can't be open. No one is trying to hurt you. No one here wants to hurt you. Not that you haven't been hurt before. And that's important. We've all been hurt by somebody, by something.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot expect to have a successful, healthy relationship and go through life making other people pay for it who didn't do anything to you. When
That's
women
good.
say, oh, all men are dogs. Have you dated all men?
Right.
There are no good women. There's still some good women out there. I mean, they're definitely there. But you're gonna find what you're looking for. It's look at what you say, look at the words you use. There are no good out there. There's no good. Well, maybe that's because you keep looking for these or those instead of looking for a good man and looking for a good woman, a good person.
Or where you're looking.
Very important. Oh, hey, if you like, I don't understand why I keep, getting to these dead end relationships. I don't know where you finding these people.
Right.
Dead relationships are us. So what,
Right.
I mean, sometimes you have to ask yourself, maybe I need to break the mold. Things that I'm about myself that I'm
Yes.
projecting to people. Maybe maybe it's the bait that you're using.
Right.
You're getting
Right.
exactly what you are putting out. You're getting
There. Yeah. Absolutely.
So man, family, you know what? Matter of fact, I'm going to see my family this weekend.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm going to see my sister this weekend.
Oh,
Family is very important, and I'm sad to say that since my mother passed in 2013, it's been a trial and a tribulation to I believe my daughter said that I was emotionally absent,
mm,
and that's powerful for one of my own seeds to say, Dad, you're emotionally absent. And
mm,
I had to receive that. I had to receive it, and I can come up with 1,000,001 reasons why, but I had to receive that. I said, okay, and I'm working on it, and that brings up the next thing. There's nothing wrong with. I know there's a stigma, or like you can't, if you're Black, you can't talk to a therapist. It means something's wrong, which means you're crazy. Everybody needs to talk to somebody. You out there talking to your friends who are giving you bad advice. At least talk to someone who's going to give you good advice. Who's
right.
so. I like sometimes, like I said, I know people are like, I ain't even ask you for any advice. I'm just going. I'm hold out with it.
Right.
I'm good. Oh my God.
I love Rolfini. I love the fact that this conversation that you have with your daughter. First of all, that she
She had
was
it with me. Let me be clear. She's very opinionated. She had it with me, and I had to sit there. I had to listen. I
yeah.
definitely had to listen because just because she's my child doesn't mean that she doesn't have a valid point. She's
Say that one more time. Say that. Say that.
because she's my child doesn't mean that she doesn't have a valid point and everything. And I had to listen.
Mm.
I had to listen and I had to receive it. Because a lot of times people listen, but they
Right.
don't receive.
Mm-hmm.
I had to listen and I had to receive what she's saying. And then when I did sit down, he's like, hey, therapist, I know I only got you for an hour, but hey, my daughter said I'm emotionally absent.
Mm-hmm.
And, try to get to the why.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, well, I was in the Marines and, it's like, well, yeah, we're taught to put this on the back burner, this and this. But Marines are very passionate about what they believe.
Right.
And I'll tell anyone that Marines are we were very passionate. I can't speak for the Marines like that, but Marines were very passionate. We believed in what we were being taught so deeply
Mm-hmm.
that pride, that esprit de corps stays with us throughout the rest of our lives. You can usually tell a person who's in the Marine Corps. It's how they carry themselves, it's how they talk. It's a pride, that they have. Not to knock any of the other branches of service, but
Yeah.
Marines, and then you got the other branches of
I'm
service.
an Air Force mom, so yeah, right. Why
Hey,
why
Air
should
Force,
why should
Air Force, y'all, hey, I have some of the most attractive women in your service. I got to give props. You got to give props where it's due. But it's a different. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I was going to be a Marine. I could have been a Marine." Like, oh yeah, no, you could have.
Mhm.
It was something that was like, nah, I
Uh,
ain't
right.
I'm going to stay over here in the Air Force Base. I'm okay right here.
Why you have to go there? All you had to do is say,
Well, I mean,
"No, I'm good."
hey,
Whether it was
hey, I'm just saying, because that's what got me to go in the Marine Corps when I saw the dress blue uniform, and it was there. I said, I'm gonna get that uniform. It's like, well, yeah. And I looked at the dress blues of the Marines, and I looked at the Air Force uniform. And I looked back at the Marine and said, this looks 100% better. You know it looks better. Come on now. Come on, be honest. Be honest. Out of all the branches of the service, it's just you and I talking. Out of all the branches, who has the best dress uniform? Now, you can say the Navy whites.
I was about to say the Navy whites, they look pretty good too
Be an
now.
officer, to get the Navy
Yeah,
whites.
right.
Every Marine gets a pair of dress blues.
Okay.
Every Marine gets a pair of dress blues. So, and when we're all in our dress blues, we look good.
Y'all do. Y'all do. You're right.
We
You're
look
right.
good.
I ain't taking nothing away from the Air Force though, because they look good in theirs too.
Yeah, but if you got the Air Force in their dress uniform and the Marines in their dress uniform, they're like, pick one. I think you could take a baby and be like, which one looked the best? And the baby's gonna point to the Marine.
Let me tell you, the Big Hug lady embraced them all. Y'all all look good.
Hey,
Yeah.
but we know. We know. There is a difference.
You are funny. You are funny.
But we know it's okay. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to say it.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. But I do love like I said, the conversation, between you and your daughter. And you said she did have to, it was her having to say that to you.
And we're still having those real conversations. We do it in moderation.
I love it.
And we may have a conversation. We may go a week or two, a couple of weeks sometimes, letting things.
You got to process it.
Exactly. But we come back, and I love my girls. I definitely love my daughters, and now that they're women, young women, I definitely have to listen to them, and I try to be very matter of factual with them. I don't pull too many punches, and I'm like, hey, if I'm gonna tell you as your father, then it's coming from a place of love, no matter how crass it may sound.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can put sugar on minutia, but it's still minutia. So I'd rather just give it to them straight. Give it to them straight because I personally, I don't feel like my mother prepared me for what
Mm,
was outside of the house.
right.
In the projects, yes, she prepared me for that, to keep me safe. We're living in a place where people are getting shot on the street corners and people are breaking into houses and all these things like that. That she prepared me for, but life outside of her orbit,
Hmm.
you know, and as parents, I think that's important for us to do is we have to prepare our children for life outside of our orbit.
Yeah.
Because once
But look, how do you do that though? Not having the experience, if I don't know, uh, as a mother, not um, having that for themselves, or as a father, not having that for themselves. How do you
the,
give that to your children if you don't know to give it to
you know, art emulates life. Uh,
them? Hmm.
there's so many parents today raising their children based off of a TV show or something else like that. African American sitcoms, you know,
Mm.
wow, that's how a family is
Cosby's.
supposed to be.
Hmm.
It's like this is obtainable. This
Hmm.
so if I break a glass, instead of getting whipped and all this and yelled at and screamed at, it's like, hey, that's coming out your allowance. Like, they get allowance?
Right.
What's allowance? So I think that there are things that we know. I think a lot of parents we try to protect our children, and I think that our parents had the right idea by being hard on us.
Mm.
Because respect for authority and discipline and all of that, it starts at home.
Mhm.
And you can usually tell a child that was not raised in a structured home where, hey, this is what's acceptable, this is what's not acceptable.
Mhm.
And if you don't have respect for authority at home, you're not going to go out in the world and have respect for authority. That is just my belief. Um,
Mhm.
respect starts at home. As a parent, we teach our children how to walk, we teach them how to talk, we teach them how to ride a bicycle. But when it comes to teaching them manners, morals, we slack. We're going to let the internet, or we're going to let the people out in the street, we're going to let those people teach those things. And just because your child turns uh, 16, 17, 18, graduates from high school, doesn't mean that mentally they are prepared to go out in this world.
Right.
Especially if I'm ready to live my life. Your job ain't done. That
Yeah.
child is not ready to go out there. And that's why you find so many children who go off to college right after high school will end up pregnant or having a child or, being kicked out of school because they weren't instilled with the tools that they needed to
Mhm.
achieve what they need to achieve. you know, I commend the parents to be like, hey, go to college, we're gonna keep you here at the house, so that you still have that structure. Because once you get from under your parents' thumb and there's no one telling you, go do your homework. Did you do your homework? Because those professors, they don't care whether you go to class or not. They're gonna
Right.
get paid.
Right.
And if you are a parent and you mortgaging your house and you're paying all this money to send your child to this school of their dreams, which is overpriced. Colleges are overpriced. For that child to not get good grades or to uh, get kicked out of school, what do you say? We still have a responsibility, and a lot of times I think that a lot of parents feel that giving their children materialistic things, giving them money just to be giving them things is
Mhm.
being a good parent. And I think that's detrimental to them because the first pair of leather shoes that I got, tennis shoes that I got when I was getting like birthday money and things like this for Christmas and stuff like that, money, or I had a piggy bank. I took that money and my mom matched it dollar for dollar.
Wow.
And so I incorporated that with my daughter, my middle daughter. It's like, Dad, I want a pair of Jordans. You want a pair of Jordans? Yes, sir. Okay. Where your money at? Because I know you got money because I give you allowance. You know. And once I started making her pay half, she
Mhm.
started appreciating those shoes a little bit more. When I was just paying for them, it's like, oh, I'm letting Lisa wear them. You letting Lisa wear them $200 tennis shoes? I don't even like Lisa. You know, even if I did, you know, I didn't buy those shoes for you to, or, you know, you're crawling on the concrete and everything. Once she started paying, once she had skin in the game, then she was like, oh no, because I got to take care of these. She's up there cleaning them and all this other stuff, putting them back in the box. Those are values. We have to start teaching our children to value things because, you know, we know the cost of everything,
Mhm.
value of nothing nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's something that we as a family need to get back to, knowing the value of things, knowing the value of trust, the value of love. That, you know, just don't give your kids. Of course, we want to give our kids things that we didn't have, but if you just give it to them, they're not gonna respect
Yeah.
it. You know? Like, oh well, I broke that. Give me another one. Like, yeah. You know, and sometimes being a parent means not being your child's friend.
Mm.
And a lot of parents want to be their children's friend, their buddy, and everything. It's not like that. Sometimes, I mean, you've been at work and there's been a coworker who wanted to do something and you're in charge. Like, no, but I really want to do it. And I said, no. You know, so why would we be harder on people at work, you know, than our own children when we have to shape them?
Mm. That's good.
We have to shape them. It's our responsibility to shape them. And if they were not properly prepared for what's out there,
Mhm.
it's back on us. My mother would say, oh, my son, he know better. He wasn't raised like that. And I can say, yeah, she's right. I do know better. I wasn't raised like that. But for a child to sit there, it's like, this is acceptable. So a lot of times you see a child doing something, look at their parents.
Mm.
That apple doesn't usually fall too far from the tree.
Yeah.
To say, you see a kid out there doing something, acting like they ain't got no common sense, look at the parents.
Yeah.
We gotta stop. We gotta stop the madness.
Yeah. In addition to, I think, um, I believe if I believe it's time to get back to mentoring,
Mhm.
right? So you mentioned, you know, seeing a child act out on the street and understanding that, you know, probably came from how they were raised. I think we've gotten away from mentoring, you know, like pulling a person aside, you know, a kid aside, say, hey, have you ever thought about this or that?
Mhm.
Or, you know, you might not want to do that because of this or that. Um,
But it's
I
hard
think,
because most parents don't want you to say anything to their children.
right. Yeah, I was going to say, I believe that we got away from that because there was this movement, you know, where it was like, you better not say nothing to my kids, you know, or I'm going to cuss you out or do this or do that to you. Um, but I think it's time to get back to that, you know, and that's how we'll help one another. As a matter of fact, we'll help not only the child, but the parent as well, because they'll see something different,
Definitely.
you know,
We have to get
and
morals, family.
change themselves.
We definitely have to do that. And I'm sure I've probably offended a lot of people, you know, in this podcast. And you have to ask yourself why.
Mm,
Kick dog will yout, you know, and I'm the first to say I'm not perfect. I am not perfect. I am still working on me. I'm still trying to learn how to be a good dad, a good father. But I'll say this, my daughters don't curse me. They don't steal. They've never been to jail. And they are good people. And that is a testament to not only, the people who were instrumental in raising them, the village that was instrumental in raising them, because it takes a village to raise a child. And when I was growing up, if the neighbor saw me doing something wrong,
Right.
they gonna give me up.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I already know. Matter of fact, they gonna call my mom. My mom gonna call me like, I know what you've been doing.
Right. Right.
And I can't even be mad at any particular neighbor because they all snitches. And
Right.
I'm like,
It was love. It was love. They would think they were looking out for
kept me out of trouble because it's like,
looking out for
back then you couldn't tell the neighbors be looking through the little blinds. Now they just like this.
right.
They be sneaky with it.
Right.
Like, man, why don't y'all go to sleep?
Right.
They retired. They sit at home. They on the porch all day.
Right. Right. Looking, fanning, taking it all in.
Oh my God. Those days are done, man. Those days are done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
One question, and we'll use this. I normally use it as a closing, but um, the question that I always ask everyone is, um, like a big hug that offers encouragement and love, and it says, "I'm sorry," and "I'm here for you." What if you were able to give the world the biggest hug ever, what would your hug say?
Wow. Why do I feel like Miss America? Like world peace. That's the answer for everything. World peace. Uh, I'd have to be really selfish right now. The hug would have to start with my daughters, my granddaughters, and say, "Hey, I'm not perfect, but I'm definitely trying. I love you guys." And for the world, it would be like, there's still time. It's still time for us to do better. Not be perfect. No, there is no such thing as perfect, but we can do better. And if you don't feel like there's no room for improvement, then you're probably part of the problem. We can do better as a people, Black, white, Chinese, whatever. You know, this goes beyond religion, race. We have to do better. We have to show love. We have to show compassion. And I get it. Some people test you. Some people are definitely gonna test your gangster. But not everyone deserves to be treated, as though they're trying to get over. Not everyone is trying to get over. There are good people out there. And nothing hurts a good person more than for a not good person to take advantage of their kindness. There's a lot. If you want to do something bad to people, do something bad to the bad people. I I'm
How
sorry.
about not do it at all?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you absolutely positively have to do it,
Mhm.
oh, man, don't let it be a hardworking mother or family or who are out there trying to do the right thing. You know, I'm there's time. There's time for us to make a change, to make a difference. And if a hug can do that, I'm all for it. And that's why I agreed to come on to your podcast. because it is making a change. It is taking a step in the right direction. And hopefully someone out there will feel what I'm saying. And maybe they'll spread the message and hug someone too. Let's let it be contagious. We got enough contagion out here. Let's get a good contagious thing. Matter of fact, let this be a challenge.
Okay.
Hug your brother, sister, neighbor. Just hug someone. Let them know that they matter.
I love that. The hug challenge. Okay. And there's still time.
There is still time. As long as you are breathing, there is time. You have time to make a change, to take a step in the right direction.
I love that. I love it. Well, this has been an incredible conversation. I love it. And as I started in the beginning, how our previous conversations, off the camera conversations have been, we have talked about everything. And that's exactly what we did. I mean, we gave a big hug. Oh my goodness.
Gave a big
With
hug.
the conversations, indeed. And so I thank you. Thank you so much for saying yes to this thing, this beautiful thing that God has given me, the vision to create this, and the strength and the courage to embrace it by going live, by putting myself out there, by inviting individuals to this platform so that we can give others, give the world the biggest hug ever, and cultivate his love in the earth. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Movement, I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah. That big hug movement. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna have to give me a t-shirt to say that.
You know, if you start making money now, we're gonna have to talk about that. I'm just saying.
I mean, you can get a percentage. I mean, you did.
Well, hey, you know, respect
You
my hustle.
helped me.
Respect my hustle. And
Right.
respect the grind.
Hey,
The grind.
absolutely. It'll be a mutual, thing. I got it. You help me.
Definitely a movement. It's definitely a movement. And it would be great to see a positive challenge out there for change. You know, it definitely would be. I actually ignore the challenges. I was like, how about let's get an education challenge. Let's invest money in stocks challenge. Let's, own something challenge. How about those challenges?
I love it. I love it.
Movement.
Big hug movement. Yes. We're gonna get that started. I am serious about that. We're gonna get it started. So, and as you said, it's time. It's time to make that change and take that step towards it. So, this is perfect. So, thank you again, Mr. Rolfini Whidbee. Yes, the award-winning